In this episode, I interview a real life admin. Daniel, roll the intro. Guru Nation, thank you so much for watching. Make sure you like, subscribe, comment, share. Very, very special guest, Commander-in-Chief Anthony. How's it going, man?
It's going.
Hardcore fans will remember we had a 2-minute video. You started out as an unblinded pharmacist in clinical research. So let's go way back. The way I met Anthony at the first PI I had here in Yuma was Dr. Smith. The very first day I started working there, you know how Dr. Smith is. He just throws you in there and you're supposed to figure things out on your own. Anything I needed, he's like, Anthony. So I was like, all right, this dude's the go-to over here. You need this ordered, Anthony. You want this, Anthony. Everything was Anthony. Need a laptop for the records, Anthony. I was like, all right, who's this dude? MA. Now you're in nursing school, right?
That's right.
You're going to be an RN.
That's
so
right.
You stopped being an MA, you stopped working at Dr. Smith's office.
That's right.
To focus on school.
Correct.
But before you left, you started working with us on the side because we needed an unblinded pharmacist. And Dr. Smith, of course, recommended who else? Anthony. For everything.
With me being one of the men there, I guess you can say, it was an easy connection for me and Dr. Smith to just,
and
kind
that
of click.
Clinic's desperately needing, it's male energy. It's just 100% female, unless I'm there. But I'm not really there. I'm there, but I'm not. I'm in and out. But your first experience was unblinded pharmacist.
That's right.
So what was that like?
I mean, it was pretty cool to, be a part of it.
You met monitors?
That's right. I met with one monitor. He came twice. Didn't really know what to expect from it, but
he told you everything you're doing was wrong, or
it was. I mean, I wouldn't say it was wrong. I think he just didn't like the way I was organizing that binder what we originally got. But
the pharmacy manual or the ISF for the unblinded.
Yeah, he just didn't really like the way I put the numbers down and stuff, and But he would tell me, hey, you know what? Let's do it this way. It's just gonna look cleaner. So I started doing it that way. And then the second time he came in, he was like, okay, it looks a lot better. And he only had to do one or two little minor, hey, just fix this up and call it good.
So you're going to RN school. So you stopped working there to go to RN school, right? And you're, how far off are you from?
I'm only a year left, 2 more semesters, yeah.
A year left. And I told you off camera, RNs could be very good CRAs. And you're actually well positioned to be potentially, if you wanted to, a CRA, after you do some bedside care, but because you already have research experience, clinical research experience. And now he wanted a summer job, and we didn't really need someone, but I already knew you and I knew how you work. So I was like, well, can't go wrong. We'll find something for him to do. And yeah, you've been our admin.
That's right.
It was around the same time Ilana and I were talking about, because they got pretty busy with regular patient visits, and now we're getting 4 more studies. By the time you leave, we'll have them all, but you're paving the way for our future admin that we're going to hire. But Lana and I were talking. I said, I think Anthony would make a good admin. And the admin, for those that don't know, is pre-qualifying patients, scheduling them, and even now you're starting to get into
the studies,
the screening stuff.
The screenings, yeah.
And we cranked up the ads. Shout out to Patient Ace. You work closer with Patient Ace than me.
That's right. It's great the way what Patient Ace was created. Easy to work with, easy to do.
Shout out to Ronick.
Yeah, shout out to Ronick for sure.
Full disclosure, I'm an owner of Patient Ace, but I'm an owner because we tried it and I was blown away by the leads, and I didn't know if it was Yuma or if it was that good. And then we're using it with other sites across the country, and they're also blown away by by the outcomes that it's generating for those clinics. So
Patient Ace it's good. I like Patient Ace.
wow, that's big time. It's not like ready for every site. I think we're trying to go to sponsors, but for those sites that are lucky enough to use it, and if you want to still try, maybe there's still some room for pilot sites, let me know. But essentially, we created this role for Anthony, and a lot of other sites do it. This is not like an idea that I came up with. Other sites that have gotten to our size streamline the work, because you reach a point where just pre-qualifying patients, scheduling patients, if you crank up the ads like with Patient Ace, it's a full-time job.
Yeah, you get a lot more revenue coming in. You got, on my phone, I got, our lead connector that we use, text messages, calls. I got to be called patients all the time. Yeah, you know what? I see you qualified. Let's get you in. Mm-hmm. Some patients kind of think of like me being a spam, but I'm a person.
Yeah.
It's kind of funny because every time I do get somebody screened in here, I always ask them like, what did you think of like the contact, when I first messaged you or when I first called you? Did you think I was like, some spam trying to get your social security number, or did you really think I was a true person?
What do they see?
For the most part, they the first text message that comes out to them, they think it's fake. But then once I reach back out to them, the way I word my messages, I guess, or even when I call them,
you're manually doing it.
Yeah, even
it's
if
only
I call them,
the first one is auto.
Correct. So they say it's they don't think it's a spam because of the way I word what I'm trying to get out to them. It doesn't look like it's just, it's someone's you're trying to hack me or trying to steal something from me. It actually looks like someone's messaging you, like, one-on-one.
Yeah.
So I've gotten good feedback. I'm trying to stay within those. I have my own already preset text messages to help me. Obviously, we get, a lot of.
We're going to need those as you, unfortunately, you're not staying because of school, but we're going to need those because we want to build. This is something I've been talking about with Lana. We want to build the system for the next one to come in. Yeah. So they don't have to learn like from scratch. Like they learn from you now.
And I've been going back on the Patient Ace, because obviously it tells you in Patient Ace which study they want to join in. Like they gives them the name, number, and email. So it shows us a little bit about them. I think typically it tells them like a certain, like for Alto, it has MDD and it says yes on their category. So we know that's what they want to join in. So when I figure out like, if they're not interested, I put it in there and I try to color coordinate everything. Okay, not interested. They're going to be, I don't know, like a yellow color. That way we all know.
Oh, you got a color code.
I'm trying to color coordinate everything so that we know, like, for more studies that have to do with MDD, bipolar, PTSD, that stuff.
Yeah, bipolar, panic disorder.
Anything that's in red, it means that they did not qualify for etc. reason, or they're going to be red because they were a screen failure at some point. So anything blue, that means they were scheduled at one point, and then either they get changed to red or they get changed to whatever happens. You know what I'm saying?
So it's like a methodical system.
So that way you can kind of just scroll to Patient Ace, just look at the main column where it's at. You say, okay, you see reds here, you see reds here, you see some blues, or you see some greens. The green ones are typically the ones that don't qualify for this one, but qualify for a different study or a future study that we have planned coming up.
And we're still in the middle of trying to integrate all this with Creo.
That's right.
So you've been doing it kind of outside of Creo, but once they agree on a date, then you schedule it in Creo.
Correct.
And what do you think about Creo so far?
Creo's easy to use, honestly. Yeah. I think it's straight to the point. You add your new subject, put in the information.
You can even call from there.
That is true. I haven't really tried using the call method just because I'm not.
No one really does.
I'm not really too familiar with it. It just kind of like gives me the options, but I think, for the most part, it's easy to use. It's very organized and straight to the point, so that's good.
And do you think knowing what you know now about research, because when I first met you, you didn't know anything about research. Then you started doing unblinded pharmacy stuff. You learned a little bit more. And now that you're doing it day to day, you're kind of learning more. And you're seeing, because you're working with the coordinators, so you're seeing what they're doing. And sometimes you jump in and do stuff too. What are your thoughts on research now, like as a career?
It's unique, honestly. It's different. I've always been, hands-on, bedside. So it's very different. I'll tell you that from what I'm used to. But it's unique. It's cool. It's something I can see myself doing, later on in the future.
So post bedside,
post bedside,
Just like most of the CRAs, I think half of them were RNs. Well, no, less than half, but I think half of our current ones were former RNs that got sick of bedside,
Yeah.
and then they want to do CRA work, and those are the ones that come to the site, audit the sites, make sure you're compliant with the protocol, things like that. Which you've interacted with some CRAs already, so
Yeah.
your resume looking really good.
Hopefully.
RN. Do you think you'll go like NP route, or are you more likely to go like RN CRA route now that you're doing this, or RN NP route?
Well,
Or
originally I want to do RNNPs. I still have that in my mind. I still have that right there, but we'll see what happens when I finish school. Once I become a true RN and where I'm going to be working at.
You have options.
I
It's
have
always good to have
options. Yeah,
options.
so I do want to go to MP though. It's been something I've always wanted to do. But like I said, it just kind of depends right now. But I mean, like you said, the RN to CRA too. That's kind of a good little hill to go through.
It's a very common path.
Yeah.
What advice do you have? Like, have you gotten any pushback from? Because you have actually a pretty powerful position here. You're basically scheduling the days for people. Have you gotten resistance from any coordinators saying, "Hey, you shouldn't put a patient today because it's too many"? Have you gotten any pushback yet from?
Not really. When I know the certain days are coming up, I try to look at the schedule, see how it looks. When I know it's already like pretty busy, I do reach out to the other coordinators. Hey, you know what? I got a patient for this study. What do you guys think? Do you want me to do it for this day? Would you guys rather have it another
Oh,
day?
so you asked them.
I asked them because I mean we're a team here. You know what I'm saying? We all gotta. If I'm just scheduling patients, and I'm not there to be able to help them at that time, it's like, okay, that's more work on them. You know what I'm saying?
Like
So
your resentment.
yeah.
You haven't gotten any of that.
no, nothing like that. So I try to work
That
it.
part's important.
I try to work it out with everybody. Like for instance, this upcoming week, how I gave you a call about the 4th of July.
4th of July.
I mean, I know a lot of people typically don't like to work on the 4th of July or the
Shout
day
out to Gracia.
afterwards.
She said she'd rather work the 4th.
So that's why I had called you in particular to make sure, okay, what's the openings for next week? Like, how do you want to go about that? You're already with the rest of the team too. So I said, you know what? Perfect. You give me the options, give me your guys' opinions. You gave me the opinions, and so we'll go from there.
I think there's two aspects to your job. There's there's more than two, but there's the pre-qual part, and then there's the scheduling, like internally. So not just does it work for the patient, but does it work for the staff?
What work for the team, yeah.
And like, the scripts you use for the patients, you would have a similar script for the staff, basically. Like if you do it enough times.
Oh, yeah, I mean, I guess you're kind of right about that, but I just feel like the staff is easier to.
Well, yeah, because there's fewer.
It's easier
But
to
if
get
you're the
to.
admin for like 20,
Yeah.
and there's like 20 patients a day versus like what we do here, like 3 to 5. We have like 3 to 5 a day, basically.
Yeah, I would probably say 3 to 5 a day. I probably would if we're about 20, 20 staff members if we were that big or whenever we get to be that big. I think there would be some, I don't know, regulation where it'd be like, okay, our max number of patients would be, let's just say like 8 patients.
Or
just
have
throwing
like
it out.
teams. Like this
Correct.
team can handle like 4 a day. This team can do 5.
And the same thing with time slots. Let's just say like we can start seeing 4 patients from 8 o'clock to 10 o'clock, and then we can see another 4 patients from 10 o'clock to 2 p.m. or something like that. You know what I'm saying? I think if we were to come to that, they'd be more organized at that point.
How many more leads a day do you think? How many leads a day would you say is too many for just one admin? Because the leads you got to reply like soon,
Yeah.
And the problem with us is we don't have evenings and weekends.
That's correct.
So I was even thinking, even if you were hypothetically never to go back to school, which I know is false, but like when we hire your replacement, right? They're going to be most likely Monday through Friday, 8 to 5. I want someone Monday through Friday, 5 p.m. to the morning. They could work from home and weekends.
And see, that's also a good idea too, though, because a lot of people work office jobs too. You know what I'm saying? Monday to Friday, 8 to 5. So they can't even use their phones or
a lot of the leads
whatever,
come in at night.
So sometimes a lot of the leads do come in at nighttime. So sometimes when I'm at home, I just, hop on there really quick. Just say, okay, let me just shoot them a little quick message. It's, that way they don't feel like they're just
Yeah, because
texting a
before we
wall or
hired you,
something.
I
Yeah.
would do it. But now that you're here, I feel like, nah, that's Anthony's job. I don't want to
Yeah.
get involved.
Like I said, when I see that there are a lot of leads, starting to rack up, I just shoot them a quick message, say, hey, this is what's going on. We'll get back to you at least, by this day for sure, or what works best for you.
Yeah.
And
So I think we should have one. I think bilingual is super important, especially lately. One of our studies is just Spanish.
Just Spanish, yeah, that's correct.
How's that going? Let's talk a little bit about the Hispanic population, because historically they've been one of the more challenging ones to recruit for studies. I think inherently in the Latino culture, it's a spirit of distrust, especially amongst medical professionals.
Yeah, I would agree on that one.
Why? Let's start with why. Why is it that?
I don't know. I just feel like, I'm Hispanic myself. Especially like my, for instance, my grandma. I just feel like she just. I feel like the way she was growing up and she was raised, I guess, it's like if they were going to the doctor's office, if she was going to the doctor's office for whatever reason, it's like she needed medication. Like she was like, it's not a visit unless it was medication was given, or it was like, or the doctor or the medical staff, sucks because, they didn't give her anything for, I don't know, a cough or whatever, the reason is. So I just feel like Hispanics, I don't know, we just think there's medicine for everything type of deal. You know what I'm saying?
What about for research though? Because here we are paying patients, which is very unusual no matter what background you are.
Yeah.
But with Hispanics, it's even more, I feel, a level of distrust when it comes to that, because they automatically think scam.
Yeah, I would say it's probably because of the whole scamming part, or they think that it's a scam. Like, why are you going to pay me, to do something, you know? Like, it's just weird.
So how do you think it's like a good idea to overcome those objections? Or what do you think we need to do in research to remove that idea that it's a scam?
I mean, honestly, just stay truthful. I mean, this is what it is. This is what research is. This is what the purpose of research and what we do. So I think if you can can just talk to the person.
Have you had like these talks already, like with some of these Hispanic patients?
There's been a few patients actually who was like, you know what, can you give me a call because I don't really know how I feel about this. So I give them a call. I let them know who we are, who I am, what I'm doing. I let them know about the studies we got going on. And then they pretty much, if they got questions for me, I answer it to the best of my knowledge. If it's something I can't answer at that moment, I have to go back and tell them, you know what, I got to look this up really quick. I'll give you a call back. Okay, perfect. Find out my answers, give them a call back, and we just go from there. And then once, I don't know, maybe because I have, retail experience too. So like I have like good people's connection. I've got retail experience. Yeah. Wow. I guess I have good like customer service or like, one-on-one customer, connection. And like, I'm good. I can talk to you all day long type of deal.
Yeah.
So I don't know if I sold them the shoe type of deal. So like, maybe because I sold them the researcher site,
Do you think it's also because like your Spanish is good? Like, how like there's varying degrees of Spanish. Like there's people that say they're bilingual.
Yeah.
Like me, who, I mean, I can do it, but they can, on the other end of the phone, they could clearly tell.
Yeah.
I'm either not Spanish or I'm like so far removed that I'm not really part of that culture.
Yeah, I know.
And with you, you're basically like perfectly fluent, no?
For the most part, I mean, I do sound a little broken when I speak Spanish, but I mean, it is what it is.
Do you think that's a factor? Like,
it can be. I'm not gonna say that it is, but I think it can be. The fact that you're talking to somebody who's speaks only Spanish and they're listening to you and they can't really understand you for whatever reason. I think it's a big part of like, oh, you know what, like I'm not interested because I don't understand you type of deal. So I think that language barrier can be something that be worked on, but
because this is something we need to figure out, not just for here, but the entire country here in our industry is really trying to figure out African Americans and Hispanic Americans. How do we get these two groups, underserved groups, in? I think it's different strategies. Obviously, with the African Americans, there's like history of distrust with Tuskegee, and it goes back like pretty far and pretty deep. the language is not really a barrier, but with Hispanics, they didn't really have any of that.
Yeah.
But in Latin America, there's some shady doctors out there. So I think there's a huge push to try to figure this problem out. And I think it boils down to sites like ours all across the country just playing their role. But we're all kind of going about it different ways.
Yeah.
And it's important to share like what works, what doesn't work. I think to help everybody out, because maybe someone's watching, and they're like, "Hey, I never thought I'd hire an admin, but maybe that's what we got to do."
Yeah, I mean, like I said, what I do it's not my typical work that I've done before, because I've done a lot of things in my life, work wise, at least as I can say, but talking to these patients, trying to calling them and trying to
Knowing
get
the meds
them.
well,
Yeah, knowing medications.
which
and,
now psych like really well. Now.
just so as soon as they tell me a medication, I'm like, okay, I know what it's for, I know what it's used, and like I can tell them you don't have to stop it, whatever the case is. So you don't have to worry about. A lot of times, like for this specific depression study we got, a lot of the residents think, or the patients think like, oh, am I gonna have to stop it, or like what's gonna go on there? Like I can't be on, like I can't go without taking my meds. Like no, don't worry about that. Like you're good. This is
The
like an
other study's gonna
additional.
be a challenge, huh?
Yeah, the other one's gonna be kind of a challenge because
of the stopping.
That washout period is gonna be kind of tough for a lot of these these patients.
But there's some that will do it.
I'm sure it's I like to think of it's research. This is nobody's truly forcing you to do anything. You're not obligated to do anything. This is your own choice. Like this is what you're helping the community out. You're helping the the nation out. Like for instance, the Alto medication, it's approved everywhere else other than US. So like that's what we're here for. If we get enough people to like it, to see that it truly works, eventually it'll be approved here and it'll be like any other medication.
Yeah.
So
yeah, that's true. And then every study has its own unique challenges. But so you've had these educational talks with the patients already.
yeah.
And you think most people from your experiences so far have been receptive, or
I think it goes 50-50.
50-50?
Or maybe like 75-25. Some are like
75 what?
75 like go for it, 25
okay,
like not go for it. Some are like boom.
That's more like what I've experienced.
Yeah, like I say, like some of them are like boom, they no questions asked, let's do it, I'm with it. And then there's other ones like, well, no, I don't think it's good for me, or what, let me ask a medical
Or we
profession.
have some come in and walk out.
And that's
before
true too. They come in, they read the consent, and they think that's like
or they're like, no, I don't want to do that assessment.
yeah, that's
And they
too.
leave. So
and
it
then they
happens.
leave.
It happens.
Like I said,
It's
it's
a
just
skill though to try to not just convince but educate, and again, like you said, let them know, hey, this is completely voluntary. It'd be interesting to like split test your percentage versus others
yeah,
to see, because I think the individual is a huge variable
yeah,
of how you communicate,
yeah, exactly
how you present yourself, all that stuff.
yeah. That's
All
very
right.
true.
Well, any advice for like sites looking to get admins, or somebody looking to approach a site and say, hey, I want to be an admin?
I mean, my advice is, if you're a big research company, I would advise to get somebody to at least
we're
help
small.
out. Yeah, that's true. I don't know how many patients I've already scheduled since being here, but I haven't been here that long,
good amount.
and I've already.
You took us from like 7, we were averaging 7 to 8 a week, to you took us to like 10 to 13.
Yeah, so like
And I think by the time you leave, I want to get to 15.
to 15. Like
And
I
then
said,
the next one, they got to maintain 15 to 20.
so that can have a high standard.
Yeah.
So I recommend it. As long as you have somebody who's a good like people's person, don't mind,
So that's a must for the admin.
I think to be
Can't be introvert.
Yeah, I think to be an admin, you have to have good people skills. You have to know how to talk to somebody without
Thank God
making.
you are an E. Commander.
Yeah, that's true.
So good people skills a must.
Good people skills it's got to be a qualifier.
Can you learn that?
I think you could probably learn it. I don't know if you'd be able to be good at it by learning it. I think being good with people, it just comes naturally. It just comes out of you.
Well, shout out to you, man. Thank you for doing what you do. And you're on your way to be an RN very soon, and then either a CRA or NP. Who knows?
Who knows? We don't know what the path is yet.
Who knows? But for now, admin with us for the next couple months, and keep the patients coming, man. You've been booking our weeks solid, so thank you.
You're welcome. I'll
And
try
we're
my
gonna,
best.
before you leave, we're gonna write like a manual. Me, you, and Lana.
We're
how to
gonna
do
have to
this.
write something. We're gonna call it the guide.
The guy, and then we'll do another podcast going over it.
That's right.
All right, good. Like, subscribe, comment, share. You have a LinkedIn?
I don't.
Big mistake. Bye-bye. Hey, if you guys like that kind of content, make sure you like, subscribe, comment, share. Stay tuned for more videos.